attack. He should have gone with whatever he had left and pushed Bisu's front row, but obviously I guess he felt he needed to solidify his advantage and he was scared of losing his Reaver and forfeiting the advantage that he did have against Bisu, but that's given Bisu the opportunity to get a Reaver out as well as Dragoons out. Obviously Bisu doesn't have the shuttle to favor, and it looks like Guamchi's now going to have a second Reaver out. So Guamchi will still have the advantage of having the two Reavers as well as the shuttle, unless Bisu's shuttle pops out before Guamchi can return to put the pressure on him. And the other situation, obviously, is that Bisu, and you can see that here, Bisu's got about 6 or 7 Dragoons in his main. He's being forced to keep those Dragoons in his main because Guamchi could come from either direction. He could come and attack the natural from the front, or he could come from behind and try and harass Bisu's main and harass his probe line, and so therefore Bisu's being forced to split his forces, whereas because Bisu doesn't have the shuttle and the Reaver, Guamchi can focus his forces at Bisu's choke, and therefore keeping the shuttle. But Guamchi trying to go over towards the main, revealing his shuttle's position to Bisu by the pylon, and that allows Bisu to, looks like, concentrate his forces at that choke. And it looks like Bisu is pulling his forces there, he's pulling his Reavers as well as Dragoons, and now Guamchi pushing forward. He does have the advantage of the shuttle. Bisu, however, does have a shield battery. Guamchi looks like taking the first Reaver shots from Bisu. Guamchi got a good Reaver shot there. Looks like he got a couple of probe kills in the process as well. Some collateral damage being delivered to Bisu's civilians, unfortunately for him. But now it looks like Guamchi's lost his Reavers as well. So both players looks like they lost both their Reavers, and Guamchi forced to pull back. He managed to keep his shuttle alive, however. So great job by Bisu defending, using the shield battery to maximum effect. Even though he didn't have a shuttle to help his Reaver, to help his Reavers out, he still managed to hold his line. Guamchi still with the Observer and the Dragoons, just keeping Bisu locked in his choke. Bisu now has another Reaver out, but unfortunately for him, again, he doesn't have the shuttle because he, again, could not produce the shuttle. He has to keep producing Reavers because he's behind after that initial battle, and Guamchi needs to keep the pressure up on Bisu here. He doesn't want to take his foot off the gas and let Bisu out, because we know, again, as I said before, Bisu is capable of delivering that hammer blow. He's capable of just getting that knife in the one right place that is enough to deliver a critical wound to your game, even if you are ahead. And now it looks like Bisu's Observer in Guamchi's base, scouting his natural expo and scouting that shuttle with the Reaver. Bisu obviously just trying to decide what he needs to do right now, and once again forced to split his Dragoon. But Bisu obviously being clever, he's keeping the Dragoons more towards the left hand side of his nexus. He's actually, okay, he's got a couple of Dragoons positioned at the pylon towards the right hand side as well, towards the eastern side of his main. Guamchi once again coming down, continuing to keep the pressure on Bisu. He seems to have superiority in numbers. He seems to have built up a lot of Dragoons, and I think that Reaver shot from Guamchi, which I think took out about 4 or 5 probes in collateral damage, has set Bisu even further behind. So Guamchi is never going to have a better chance to beat Bisu than this, and if he loses, he's really going to be kicking himself here. But Bisu is doing a good job of holding his choke so far. Guamchi once again coming in with a shuttle loaded up with, I believe, 2 Reavers, trying to again put some harass down on Bisu at Bisu's natural expo. But Bisu obviously anticipating that, playing defensively until he can build up. And Guamchi careless there, pulling his Dragoons forward within range of Bisu, and Bisu getting a Reaver shot off, hitting both his Dragoons. Guamchi's Reaver shot unfortunately not doing any damage to Bisu there. So this is going to be interesting right here. Bisu needs to do something to pull this out. Guamchi now with the Observer in Bisu's base. Bisu with his Observer, what it looked like was in Guamchi's base earlier, and it looks like now Guamchi is taking his expo behind, his mineral only expo up behind the ridge, because obviously he is ahead and he's got Bisu locked in. So Bisu now pushing out. Guamchi's pulled his shuttle back, and he's going to have to bring his shuttle back around if he's going to make a stand here. He's going to fight, and I really think that he should fight because he has got the superior force. He's got twice almost, well, not twice, but he's certainly got 1.5x the number of Dragoons that Bisu has. I guess he doesn't want to take any risks. He doesn't want to be fighting a battle in the middle while having his economy destroyed by harassed by Bisu, because we all know how brilliant Bisu is at multitasking, and that's why I guess he's decided to pull back and play a little bit more defensively here. He's pulled his Reaver back in his natural expo, and I feel that he's going back into his shell here. This is not what he needs to be doing, and sometimes you see this in football all the time, where a team that is the underdog, when they're, and Bisu now going in for the harass with his shuttle at Guamchi's main. Guamchi doesn't have anything to defend it right now, and this is going to be key here. If Bisu can deliver some damage, he'll be right back in it. Guamchi does pull his probes around, Scarab shot going off, and oh my god, the Scarab shot! Oh, and Guamchi's so lucky there that Scarab shot missed, because he'd actually brought his probes back before the Scarab shot had gone off, and he almost paid a really heavy penalty for him. That would have been unfortunate, but now it looks like Guamchi has allowed Bisu for some reason to lock him again, maybe, and we've got a Citadel of Adon and Templar Archives up for Guamchi, and I think he's got DTs in that shuttle. I think I saw DTs in there, and it looks like Guamchi's pushing out with a shuttle, and it looks like he's going to rely on his 3 Reavers and Dragoons to hold his defense against Bisu, and Bisu obviously hasn't seen this coming. Bisu now pushing out with the first shot, takes out the first one. He takes out 2 of Guamchi's Reavers. Guamchi in huge trouble right now. More Reaver shots going off. Bisu loses his Reaver and his shuttle, but he's still got 1 Reaver alive, and he's got a massive Dragoons. Guamchi's lost a lot of his ground forces. You can just see the the carcasses of so many dead Dragoons in the middle of that choke, and more Dragoons going down for Guamchi. He's lost all 3 of his Reavers. He didn't have the shuttle, and this is Guamchi might be paying a huge price here for that DT harass. Was it really worth the DT harass to lose his Natural Expo, lose his entire army? Bisu with a massively superior ground force. Guamchi's going to be forced to pull back, and Guamchi's going to lose his Natural Expo. There's no way he's going to be able to defend this. Bisu has only 1 observer, I think. Bisu might not have an observer in his main. Guamchi's now got his DT in behind Bisu's probe line, but and now Guamchi manages to kill Bisu's Reaver, and he's now got his shuttle back as well after having done the DT drop, and now he's starting to kill some probes, but I'm sure Bisu's going to produce an observer ASAP and put those probes out, but Bisu doesn't seem to be noticing it. He seems to be in the heat of the battle, focusing on attacking Guamchi's Natural Expo, and therefore he isn't really paying attention to his main, and he hasn't pulled his probes off the line. His Bisu's probes are still on the line. They're getting killed massively by Guamchi's DTs, and Guamchi's trying to level the game here. Bisu finally notices and pulls his probes back, but meanwhile Guamchi's Natural Expo, I'm sure by now, has been taken down. Okay, it's just about alive, but Bisu's got Dragoons surrounding it, and he's going to take that Natural Expo down, but meanwhile Bisu's economy is damaged. He does have Dragoons in his base, but he needs to produce a couple of observers to clear out those DTs so that he can secure the victory here. Guamchi meanwhile has managed to get a Reaver on. He still has got massive Dragoons. Bisu now pushing in. He's got the shuttle and the Reaver. Guamchi coming in with the defense. Bisu obviously had the choke at a narrow point, not able to push forward, and it looks like his ground force advantage that he had has finally been whittled down by Guamchi, and it looks like both players now with about equal number of forces. Guamchi now with the careless move, pushing his Reaver out in the front. I'm not sure if he lost his shuttle already, and that Reaver is going to get taken down. He hadn't lost his shuttle, so that was very careless by Guamchi, carelessly losing his Reaver, and once again surrendering the initiative to Bisu, but Bisu still hasn't produced an observer in his main. He's got about 8 or 6 Dragoons waiting at his Natural Expo, but for some reason he isn't able to produce an observer. Is that because Guamchi is killing his gas, and then Guamchi holding the defense, taking on all of Bisu's Dragoons? Guamchi's got a Reaver out, and he's got a shuttle to support it this time, and Bisu's lost most of his forces, and now Bisu's in huge trouble right now, and I think that Guamchi must have been killing Bisu must not have had the gas to produce the observers, and Guamchi killing his probes obviously microing well and killing the probes, not allowing to be there. Bisu GG's. Oh my god, I cannot believe that out of nowhere, just when it looked like Bisu had his hand wrapped around Guamchi's throat, Guamchi delivers a punch to Bisu's gut, twists Bisu's hand off his neck, and then twists Bisu's knife around and shoves it back into his torso, tearing him to shreds. Guamchi takes an emphatic victory, and he is pumped, and boy should he be. He has just won against the Protoss champion, the star of the Protoss, and what a great victory that was. You have to say that Bisu perhaps missed a trick there. The only thing I can think of was that he didn't have the gas for the observers, and obviously he didn't notice that his probes were being killed because he was in the heat of battle. And really, it looked like Bisu had turned that game around after surrendering the early initiative to Guamchi. But out of nowhere, Guamchi comes out, and his risk paid off. And really, you have to argue it shouldn't have. But sometimes, like in poker, you go in with what might not be the best hand, and you hit on the river. And Guamchi has this time hit. Bisu had a flush, but Guamchi has hit the full house on the river. And great play, great StarCraft, hugely entertaining. Don't forget to check out the SC2GG commentary idol, guys. This is Klazar. Thanks for listening. What a great game of StarCraft. And I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did.